Have you ever wondered, why is it that the moment you finally stop chasing someone, suddenly they start noticing you again? It's almost like magic. She ignored you, maybe even left you, but deep inside, there's this thought that if you change the right things, not for her, but for yourself, she'll come back without you lifting a finger. Well, what if I told you that Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, left us timeless principles that directly explain why this happens, and how you can make her regret walking away? In this video, I'll share 10 Marcus Aurelius-inspired suggestions that will not only make her come back, 100%, but also completely transform your love life, your confidence, and your power as a man. So before we begin, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and watch this video all the way till the end, because what I'm about to share with you has the power to change how you handle love, loss, and attraction forever. There was a man named Adrian. He was deeply in love with a woman, gave her all his attention, all his time, and all his energy. But slowly she started to drift away. She stopped responding the way she used to, stopped appreciating his effort, and eventually she left. Adrian was shattered. He couldn't sleep, couldn't eat properly, and his mind was filled with questions. What did I do wrong? Why did she leave me when I gave her everything? But then, Adrian discovered something powerful. He stumbled upon the writings of Marcus Aurelius, and in those words, he found a path, not to chase her, not to beg, not to manipulate, but to become so unshakably strong, centered, and valuable that she couldn't help but notice the difference. And this is exactly what I'll share with you today. 1. Master the art of indifference. Have you ever sat staring at your phone, waiting for her reply? Watching those double ticks on WhatsApp, but no message from her? You keep checking, hoping maybe this time she'll reach out, but she doesn't. And in that silence, your heart sinks deeper. Now think back. Remember the days when she was chasing you? When she couldn't wait to text you back? When she laughed at your smallest jokes? When she'd even get upset if you didn't reply fast enough? What changed? Here's the hard truth. She lost interest not because you didn't love enough, but because you loved in a way that made you too predictable. You became too available, too easy, too certain, and human nature is wired to undervalue what's always within reach. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." And in love, this translates into the art of indifference. Indifference doesn't mean you don't care. It means you stop begging for her attention. You stop panicking when she pulls away. You stop letting her silence control your emotions. Instead, you stand calm like a mountain that doesn't shake when the storm hits. Imagine this: she expects you to chase after her absence. But when you don't, when you live your life, smile, and move forward without complaint, suddenly the power shifts. She begins to wonder, wait, why isn't he affected? Did he already move on? Was I not as important as I thought? That curiosity is the first spark that makes her look back at you. And that's why indifference, when done right, becomes your strongest weapon. Build inner strength, not outer validation. When she walked away, what was the very first thought in your mind? Be honest. For most men, it's, how do I prove to her that I'm worth it? You start thinking about buying new clothes, posting pictures online to make her jealous, maybe even trying to show off success just so she notices you again. But let me tell you something real and raw. Validation from her is a trap. Because the moment your worth depends on her response, you've already lost your power. Take the story of Adrian again. After his breakup, he couldn't sleep. Every gym selfie, every new shirt he bought, every party he attended, it was all just a performance. Not for himself, but for her. And guess what? She didn't even care. It was only when Adrian stopped asking, "What will she think?" and started asking, "What do I think about myself?" that everything changed. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be."
Be one.
That's the essence of inner strength. Stop showing strength, become it. Instead of chasing validation, build discipline. Hit the gym not to post pictures, but to feel strong in your own body. Read not to look intelligent, but to sharpen your mind. Work on your goals not for her attention, but because you refuse to waste your potential. Here's the twist. The moment you stop trying to impress her, she feels it. She sees that glow in your eyes, that calm in your walk, that purpose in your energy, and that unshakable inner strength makes her question, wait, did I underestimate him? Did I walk away too soon? That's when the tables turn. Not because you begged for her approval, but because you finally stopped needing it. True attraction isn't built on outer validation. It's built on the quiet, unshakable confidence that comes from within. Though silence is louder than words. When she pulls away, what's the first thing you feel like doing? For most men, it's texting her again and again. Hey, did I do something wrong? Please just talk to me. I miss you. But let me tell you the truth. Every extra word you throw her way when she's already distant only makes you look weaker in her eyes. Because attention that is freely given when it's not appreciated becomes noise. Think back to your own love story for a moment. Remember how in the beginning, when you didn't text her right away, she would double text you? She'd call you just to ask what you were doing. Why? Because your silence created mystery, tension, and desire. Marcus Aurelius believed that unnecessary words weaken the soul. He wrote, "Because a thing seems difficult for you, do not think it impossible for anyone to accomplish. But if it is possible and proper for a man to do, assume that it must fall within your own capacity." In relationships, silence is one of those difficult but powerful things. It feels impossible not to reach out, but once you master it, you realize how powerful it is. Here's the psychology. Silence forces her to face the space you left behind. Instead of you reminding her of your presence, she begins to notice your absence. And absence is often louder than presence. Picture this. She scrolls through her phone at night. She sees no desperate messages from you, no calls, no begging. And slowly a question creeps in. Why isn't he chasing me? Has he stopped caring? Did he move on? That's when her curiosity turns into action. So remember, your silence isn't weakness, it's strength. It's not ignoring her, it's respecting yourself enough not to beg for attention. And in that silence, you regain the power she thought you lost. 4. Become a man of purpose. When she left, did your entire world feel like it collapsed? Did you wake up thinking about her? Go to bed thinking about her? And feel like your life had no meaning without her? If yes, then listen closely, because this is the very reason she pulled away in the first place. Here's a harsh but liberating truth. A woman doesn't want to be your entire purpose. She wants to join a man who already has one. Think back to when you first met her. You probably weren't trying so hard to impress. You had your own hobbies, your own focus, your own life, and that's what attracted her. You were a man on a mission, and she wanted to be part of that mission. But slowly you made her the mission. And when you did, the attraction faded. Marcus Aurelius, an emperor who carried the weight of Rome on his shoulders, still reminded himself daily, a man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions. What does this mean for you? It means if your only ambition is getting her back, you've already lost. But if your ambition is to grow, to conquer challenges, to build a life that excites you, then not only do you win as a man, but women naturally gravitate toward that fire. Look at history, look at stories. You'll always find that men of vision, men of purpose, men who know where they are going, are irresistible. Their presence says, you can walk with me, but I'll keep walking whether you join me or not. That energy is magnetic. When she feels that your life is moving forward, that your days are filled with passion and direction, she'll either regret walking away, or she'll try to find a way back into your journey. So ask yourself, what's my mission? What wakes me up in the morning besides thoughts of her? Because when you become a man of purpose, love doesn't control you, you control love. Emotional control is irresistible. When she walked away, how did you react? Did you lash out in anger? Did you send long emotional texts begging her to stay? Or maybe you broke down, showing her that without her, you couldn't hold yourself together? If you did any of these, don't blame yourself, it's natural. But it's also the very thing that makes most men lose a woman's respect forever. You see, women are deeply wired to test a man's emotions, not consciously, but instinctively. They want to feel safe around someone who doesn't lose control when life gets hard. And when you collapse emotionally the moment she leaves, you're unknowingly showing her that she was your anchor. And without her, you drown. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You shouldn't give circumstances the power to rouse anger, for they don't care at all." Think about that. Circumstances don't care. The breakup doesn't care. Even she at that moment doesn't care. So why waste your strength losing control over what you cannot command? Imagine this instead. She expects you to fall apart. She expects you to beg. She expects you to rage. But instead you respond with calm. You keep living. You smile. You're not cold, you're just steady. That unshakable composure will make her stop and think, wait, why isn't he shattered? Did I not matter as much as I thought? Or is he just stronger than I ever realized? That's the power of emotional control. It doesn't just protect you, it confuses her expectations and creates attraction again. And let me tell you this, emotional mastery is not about suppressing feelings. It's about directing them. Use the pain to work harder, to grow sharper, to become better. Because the man who can control his emotions is the man who controls the room, and in time, he controls the relationship too. Seriously, show, don't tell. When she left, did you find yourself wanting to explain everything to her? To say things like, I'll change, I'll be better, just give me another chance? Maybe you even promised her the world, hoping your words would win her back. But here's the problem. After a breakup, words lose their value. She's heard your promises before. She's heard your declarations of love. And to her, they don't mean much anymore. Think about it like this. If you keep telling someone you're strong, but every time life gets hard, you break down, do your words really matter? Of course not. What matters is proof. Marcus Aurelius captured this truth when he wrote, "Waste no more time talking about what a good man should be. Be one." Adrian, the man we've been talking about, learned this the hard way. In the beginning, he tried sending long texts to explain his love. He told her he'd be different. He begged for another chance. But she didn't care. She wasn't moved by his words. It was only when Adrian stopped telling and started showing that things changed. He didn't say he was working on himself, he actually did it. He didn't say he was focused, he became focused. He didn't post quotes about being strong, he lived with quiet strength. And here's the powerful part, she noticed. Women always notice, not because he told her, but because his actions spoke louder than any text ever could. This is where most men fail. They try to convince with words. But attraction doesn't work like that. It works when she feels something shift in you. And that shift is seen in your walk, your tone, your discipline, your lifestyle. So remember this. Don't tell her you've changed. Don't tell her you're strong, show her. And when your actions align with the man you say you are, she'll feel it without you saying a single word. Dear, live as if she will never return. Right now, are you secretly living each day waiting for her message? Do you keep checking your phone, scrolling through her social media, hoping she'll post something that means she misses you? If yes, then you've unknowingly put your entire life on pause for someone who isn't even there. And that's the biggest mistake most men make. They live as if their whole story depends on her return. But here's the paradox. The moment you stop waiting for her is the moment she feels the strongest pull to come back. Marcus Aurelius said, "Do every act of your life as though it were your last." Think about that. If today was your last day, would you waste it refreshing your inbox hoping for her text? Or would you live fully, laughing, working, loving life without regret? Let's return to Adrian's story. After months of waiting and hoping, one day he woke up and said, enough. He stopped checking her Instagram. He stopped waiting for her calls. Instead, he started living. He traveled. He built his career. He found joy in small things again. And here's the twist. When Adrian truly moved on, when he genuinely lived as if she'd never return, she suddenly noticed the difference. She saw him smiling in pictures, not pretending, but genuinely happy. She saw him thriving in ways she never expected. And that's when the thought hit her. Did I lose him forever? That's the secret. When you live as if she's never coming back, you free yourself from her shadow. You become magnetic again because you're no longer chasing. Life itself is chasing you. Excellent. 8. Forgive without forgetting. When you think about her now, what do you feel? Anger? Bitterness, or maybe a silent ache? Do you replay the arguments, the betrayal, or the moment she walked away? If so, I want you to realize this. Carrying bitterness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. In reality, it only destroys your peace. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is to be unlike your enemy." And in love, that means rising above resentment. Think of Adrian again. After his breakup, he spent weeks filled with anger. Every time he thought of her laughing with someone else, his chest burned. He wanted to prove she was wrong, to make her regret leaving. But this anger only chained him to her even more. He wasn't free. He was still emotionally owned by her decisions. One day, reading Marcus Aurelius, Adrian realized forgiveness wasn't about excusing her actions. It was about reclaiming his own peace. So he chose to forgive her, not to let her back into his life, but to release himself from the emotional prison. Here's the key. Forgiving doesn't mean forgetting. what happened or letting her hurt you again. It means acknowledging the pain, learning from it, and then moving forward without hate. And here's the irony: when you forgive, when you carry yourself with calm rather than bitterness, she senses it. She expects coldness, maybe even hostility, but instead she sees dignity. That contrast makes her wonder, how did he let go so easily? Why does he seem so at peace without me? Forgiveness becomes your power. It doesn't mean she deserves a second chance, it means you deserve freedom. Because the man who forgives without forgetting grows wiser, stronger, and far more attractive than the man who clings to anger. 9. Rarity creates value. Do you remember the early days of your relationship? When she couldn't wait to see you, when every text felt exciting, when your presence felt like a gift instead of a routine. Now think about what happened later. Maybe you started giving her your time 24/7. Every message, you replied instantly. Every time she wanted to see you, you dropped everything. Slowly, your presence went from being special to being ordinary. And here's the truth about human nature. When something is always available, its value decreases. Marcus Aurelius understood this about life itself. He often reminded himself how short and rare life is, which is exactly why it is precious. He wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think." Apply this to love. If you treat yourself as rare, your presence becomes precious. But if you're constantly available, you lose that magnetic pull. Take Adrian's story again. After his breakup at first, he was everywhere, liking her posts, texting mutual friends, showing up at places she went, all in hopes of being noticed. But she only pulled further away. It was only when Adrian became rare, when he stopped being everywhere, when his presence wasn't easy to access, that her curiosity started growing again. Suddenly she was asking herself, what's he been up to? Why don't I see him around anymore? Has he already moved on? And here's the psychological twist. When you create rarity, she doesn't just miss you, she values you. Your silence, your time, your attention all become treasures she has to earn again. So remember this, don't give yourself cheaply. Don't be available at the snap of her fingers. Step back, focus on your life, your goals, your growth. Because when you become rare, your value skyrockets, and that's when she realizes what she lost. 10. Build a life that attracts, not chases. Here's the ultimate truth. Brother, the best way to get her back, or to win any woman's heart, is not to chase her at all. It's to build a life so powerful, so fulfilling, that she cannot resist being drawn to it. Let me ask you, what kind of man do women truly desire? Is it the one who begs, pleads, and constantly runs after them? Or is it the one who stands tall, focused, and purposeful, with a life that radiates strength and direction? Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. If your mind is consumed by chasing, begging, and waiting, your life shrinks. But if your thoughts are rooted in growth, discipline, and higher purpose, your life expands, and people, including women, are naturally drawn to that energy." Think of Adrian one last time. After his breakup, he spent weeks obsessing over her. But then something clicked. He stopped waiting for her text and started working on himself. He hit the gym, invested in his career, spent time with good friends, and pursued hobbies he once neglected. His world grew larger, brighter, and more exciting. And here's what happened. Without a single word of chasing, she noticed. She saw the photos of him smiling, surrounded by life and energy. She heard from mutual friends how well he was doing. Suddenly, the man she once took for granted became the man she couldn't stop thinking about. This is the paradox: the less you chase, the more you attract. Not because you're playing games, but because you're genuinely living. So build a life that excites you. A life rooted in discipline, passion, and meaning. When you do that, women won't be something you run after. They'll be drawn to your orbit. Because strength, purpose, and peace are magnetic. And whether she comes back or not, you win. Because you didn't just try to get her back. You became the man who never needs to chase again. Closing. So remember, show indifference, not desperation. Build inner strength. Let silence speak. Live your purpose. Control your emotions. Show transformation.